Hey YouTube listeners, watchers, and Raspberry Pi hackers. It's Chris here. Been working on this project for work, and I've been spending a little time playing around with MODBUS on the Raspberry Pi. Let me tell you a little bit about my setup here. I got two Raspberry Pis. The one on the right here is a Raspberry Pi 3. And the one on the left is a Raspberry Pi 2, both with the official 7-inch displays. I got a USB to 4-port serial converter, but only 3 of them are running over there into the Raspberry Pi 2. It's acting as 3 independent MODBUS slaves, each with their own address space and MODBUS registers. And this MODBUS master over here has got 3, it's multi-threaded, so there's 3 independent threads, each acting as a master polling the slave for various registers. I think I'm polling for like 800 so registers, 100 in 125 byte chunks. Well, I started to play around with. I wanted to play around with overclocking this Pi 3 to see just how fast it would go. It's not overclocked. Well, right now, it's running at 600 megahertz right now. And over here, I'm going to flip over to my PC. I've got a couple of SSH screens going, logged in, and up here at the top you can see the core frequencies running. You see it's sitting mostly at 600 megahertz, but it is bouncing up to 1.4 gig. I've upped the core voltage to 1.4 and the, I don't know if you want to call it turbo speed to 1.4 gig, but that's basically what I've done. And this program over here is each of the MODBUS masters. I'm displaying data in 16 register blocks. Okay, and the client, each client is just changing the data just so I can see some data change. But anyway, back to overclocking here. There you can see each MODBUS thread polling. Well, anyway, all right, now here we go. I thought it was real interesting that some people, there's a Sysbench provides this. It's kind of like a stress test. All right, I'm going to swing over here and show you the back of this Pi 3 here. If you're gonna overclock this thing, especially if you're gonna really tax it, you got to put a fan on. I've already proven that. I had a fan in a different position and it wasn't blowing enough air onto the CPU. And I have the Watchdog running on here with the high end of the temperature. I forget what it's set at, but it reset because the temperature went too high. Yeah, there's the back end of my Raspberry Pi 3. Oh, by the way, this is a MoPower UPS. Wonderful product. Provides for a clean shutdown and a little battery backup. It lasts pretty long time on these 6 AA nickel metal batteries. There's a real-time clock on there. Well, anyway, you can see where the fan's positioned, and there's a little heat sink on the brain. So what I really wanted to do is I'm going to run the stress test over there, and I'll start the stress test now. It's just figuring prime numbers. So when you start it, you can actually see it utilizes all 4 cores to 100%. The interesting thing over there is the temperatures, how fast the temperatures rise when it's overclocked. So you can see the temperature there is right now it's 120 degrees F. Before I started it, it was right around 95. And without the fan, you got to have a fan on it. If it gets too hot, and then it'll reset. But anyway, it was just a test to see if, just to experiment with the how fast this thing will go, and it's pretty cool. You can see that it isn't even, I think it's spinning, I had another situation where it was spinning, yeah, it's spinning about 56% of its time in the 1.4 gigahertz clock step. You can see the core voltage is 1.39 volts, but again, I did this the one time when my fan wasn't really blowing enough CFMs across the heat sinked brain, and it gets way hot. And again, I don't know how many. I don't anticipate doing any projects on the Raspberry Pi that are going to utilize 100% of each of the 4 cores. But anyway, just some interesting experiments. Thanks for watching.